Wow. Hey, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Welcome for this week's edition of Nothing But the Truth with
Brother Jamil.
and Sister Tisha. She's right over there. We are grateful that you've chosen to join us on this April 30th, 2026, for a special edition of the program that deals with the idea and concept of how we will make it through uncertain, dark, and ever changing times, both in America and around the world. So you don't want to go anywhere today. You want to make sure you stay in your seat. It's a beautiful day where we are, and we pray that it's a beautiful day for you because you've already got the victory before the battle even begins. So
Yes.
I'm going to turn you into the hands of not only the world's greatest, but the world's most beautiful co-host, the great Sister Tisha. Go right ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to another exciting episode of Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha. We are so excited and so thankful that you took the time to join us. Real quick, we are asking that you help us build our platform. To do that, all we ask you to do is to go over to our YouTube page, Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha. Like, share, and subscribe. You can actually go to the in the search bar and just put at Jamil and Tisha. Let me see if I can find it. Take you right to the page. Just do that. Then go over to our Facebook page and do the same. You can find us at Jamil Muhammad or Tisha Muhammad. Like, share, and subscribe. That will help us so much. We appreciate you. Hold on.
Yes, indeed. Wow, we're back now with you, and there's much more that we could be talking about, but nobody, Tisha, needs to know. Oh, here we are. We got family coming in already. The Rockwell Radio Show is in the building. We thank you, Brother Vaughn and the team there at Rockwell Radio Show. Make sure that you tune them in every Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Brother Lamar is with us. Good to see you. Wa alaikum salam. So many who are coming in, gathering from around the country. Hey, there's Trisha. Hello, family, and greetings back to you. So we're coming in. We're coming in. Once you get here now, make sure you do what Sister Tisha said earlier. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. We're building our base of viewers little by little, but we're building it up, and it's really going well. So we thank you for your support. And from South Philly artists, okay, wa alaikum salam to you, South Philly artists. Go in the chat, South Philly artists, and tell us what you do downtown in Philadelphia on Passyunk Avenue or Point Breeze or 21st and Christian. Whatever you do down in South Philadelphia, let us know what you do. We want to make sure we can recognize you and be a part of what you're doing next as well. So anyway, brother and sister, there's a lot going on. I want to share something with you that will allow us to bring our guest on because, Tisha, we don't need to wait. We need to make sure we get right to her and the subject matter that she brings to us as an expert tonight. But our guest is not a stranger to these airwaves. She's not a person that you don't know. She's not a person that you have to wonder who she is, but she's here with us tonight to share with us. Her name is Sister Tequella Muhammad. And I want to give you some biographical information on her. I'm going to read it to make sure we have it exact, even though we know who our sister is.
Right.
She's a dedicated disaster preparedness educator, author, and entrepreneur, committed to equipping families and communities with the knowledge and resources necessary for survival in emergencies. She's a devoted wife and a mother of 7 children, a proud sister in the ministry class, and a lover of food and reading. As the founder of Ark Survival Surplus, Tequella provides essential survival items at low cost, facilitates preparedness workshops in churches, libraries, and community centers, and shares vital disaster readiness strategies online. She's authored 2 books, Disaster Readiness for Children and Disaster Readiness 3.0, both designed to empower individuals, especially women and families, with practical steps to stay prepared in times of crisis. Tequella specializes in survival food preparation, teaching families how to store, preserve, and prepare nutritious meals during emergencies using long-term food storage, rationing techniques, and off-grid cooking methods. Wow. Beyond in-person workshops, Tequila actively shares disaster preparedness insights through her social media presence, where she provides educational content, product recommendations, and real-time preparedness tips. Her mission is to make emergency readiness accessible and actionable for everyone, right? And that's what makes it so accessible. Makes it for everyone, so it ensures that families can face any disaster that may arise with confidence. And we are confident tonight in bringing her to you. She's our sister, our friend, not a guest in the sense that she's a stranger around these parts, but she's a member of the Nothing But the Truth family too. Would you join me in welcoming our sister, Tequella Muhammad? Bring her back forward. There is she there? Oh, there she is. All right, all right.
Welcome.
All right, all right.
Me, I really am so honored and grateful to be on the show a second time.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, yes, indeed. We learned from Shalimar that the second time
around.
Laughing the whole show, y'all. He is so funny. I know it.
No, I don't bother people. It's that lady right there. She's the one that's always funny over here doing stuff. But we want to welcome you, sister. And certainly there's a lot to talk about tonight. There are many issues that confront us as families, as individuals, as a people. Where do we start? I think where do we start is the question. And what are you doing lately, especially in light of all the geopolitical events that are going on around the world?
Absolutely. The biggest thing is first awareness, just paying attention. We're told in this hour to watch the weather. And I look at that, the climate of America, the climate of the world right now. So when we watch the weather, it's on multiple levels. And so just seeing things that are taking place, watching the prices of food, we're hitting an inflation place. I've seen coffee for $15 to $20 for coffee that was $4 maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
I couldn't believe what I saw. And just everything rising. Dollar Tree is no longer Dollar Tree. You really can buy anything for $1. So we're seeing the fall of the dollar, which we have been taught would happen, and we are living in that time. You really can't, really utilize it that way. And a lot of times we don't even keep cash on us. Most people don't have $1 in their pocket. Everything is now digital and online. So just the biggest thing with it is just paying attention and being aware of the time and acting accordingly. So
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You know what I wanted to ask? Last time we talked about, and we can back up just a little bit too, the importance. Well, actually, what is disaster preparedness? Is it just preparing for the doomsday, or is it something else? Is there several levels to it? And then after we talk about that, let's talk a little bit about what people are saying they don't want to panic buy. Have you heard the term panic buy, panic shop, panic store? So let's get into it. Just remind the audience what disaster preparedness actually is and why it's important to do.
Absolutely. So in almost everything that we do, we're taught that, you are more successful with things when you prepare. So if you're not training for certain things, you just won't know. For example, CPR. I mean, you might save a life if you try to do CPR, but if you're properly trained on what to do, then your chances of saving that life is a lot higher. The same with the seatbelt method. They tell us that you can still pass away when you don't have your seatbelt on, but your chances of survival are going to be a lot higher when you put that seatbelt on. And so when it comes to disaster preparedness, it's the same thing. Your chances of survival increases when you have the things that you need and you're prepared. We're not asking you to prepare for the apocalypse. So we don't want you to go out and just try to get a bunker and try to live off grid underneath the ground and try to buy as much as you can all day long, every day. That's not what we're teaching. We're teaching you just to live as though it's intentional and to be able to have things for 3 to 6 months, because we have been given the warning and the guidance from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on what we should have stored in our homes, and to make sure that we have at least 3 to 6 months worth of food in our home. So the guidance of preparing, I think the word disaster is one of those words where people get a little, when you hear disaster, but it's just anything could be a disaster. It could be a misplacement, a fire. The stores could close down. There could be a grid shut down. The electricity could go out in your city for a couple of days. And, you know, sometimes we panic and we fall out because we don't expect it to. So disaster preparedness is basically preparing for the unexpected. Anything can happen. That's how we want to prepare.
Yeah, sure.
That makes sense.
Wow. You're listening to Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha. Our guest tonight, Sister Tequella Muhammad, and we are off and running already. Sister, a couple of questions came in since the last time that you were here, and we'd like to just bring those questions up to date. And Sister Tisha will, of course, join me in these things. But people wanted to know, first, they wanted to thank you for what you gave the last time you were here. It's been a few months. It seems like you were just here yesterday, but it's been a few months. Yeah. And things have changed, as we said earlier, politically in the world. But we would like to ask the question, if you live in a place where an emergency or a disaster or a situation would develop, but you don't know your neighbors, you don't live in a compound or a neighborhood or a cul-de-sac with everybody from your church. You know, there's one street in the subdivision for the senior choir, another street in the cul-de-sac for the
senior choir.
Oh yeah, the senior choir got to have the big houses, you know. And then there's another one for the deacon staff and the usher board. We don't live like that most of the time. We live scattered among people who may or may not share our concern for the events of the time. How do we handle ourselves when events begin to unfold in a case like that?
Absolutely. So to start out, we should know our neighbors initially. In any community, we should be going out to kind of get to know one another, to know the neighbor that don't like you, or, you know, they walk their dog, or they know everything you got going on in your house. You know, you have to get out, even if it's, you know, to knock on the door and meet your neighbors, or walk down the street and just say hi to them, just to kind of see who's in the neighborhood, who's growing vegetables, who lives alone, who is an elderly in your neighborhood. Some of the things, especially your street, you should know at least some commonality. So we start that process now. But when it comes to things, you know, more so happening when it comes to the disaster, that's what people are going to look at. They're going to look to people that they know. Because again, when things happen and you don't know your neighbors, now it's going to be a trust factor in it. You know, why should this person over? This person wants to come into my house, but this person could have a gun on them. This person could try to rob me or to try to break into my house, because once they get in, they can kind of see your setup of your home. So you want to try to learn these things ahead of time before disaster strikes. But sometimes when it does strike, your neighbors are all you have, and you have to work together in that point as community. And so that's why it's best to get to know one another, because you may have to deal, your neighbor may be a doctor, and you may have a cut leg, and you may need to go next door. But if you don't know those things, then you may bleed out in your home because you don't even know that the neighbor, you know, is a doctor. So getting to know one another is the first thing. And then if it so happens that, you know, you all don't have commonalities where they may not like you and they don't want to be bothered with you, those are things that you know as well. So you prepare yourself in your home for those things, to know that if a person don't like you, then you may be that first target of them when something happens. And so you just have to prepare yourself in your home, make sure that other people know this neighbor doesn't like me, you know, they live right here, sending addresses to other family members or people so that they are aware of what's going on.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Tisha. Go ahead.
There is a question that came up. Let me pull it real quick. How do you make sure you have 3 to 6 months worth of food, water, supplements, and medical supplies? Is there a specific way or math that needs to be used to determine how much to store up?
And Bob, before you start to answer that question, please be extra thorough. This question is being posed by our fellow Ohioan. So go right.
I love Sister Sharon. So yes, so Sister Sharon knows this too. We're doing a community disaster preparedness stock up for Atlanta, and each week we have different items that you will get into your home so that you can prepare your home for those 3 to 6 months that you may be in your home. But there is a specific formula, but it's not. It really just depends on your family needs and your household size. and what you eat, what you don't eat, and how often you eat. So again, you may fast and eat one meal a day or one meal every other day. You might not need as much food as someone else. You may have a family of 2. Someone else may have a family of 7 or 10. So what they need is going to be totally different than what you need. One of the biggest things with technology is that now we can put it in chat. You got Chat GPT now, you got Gemini, you actually can put in the amount that you would need for your family to rationalize the exact amount for your family. But I always start out with the basics. Of course, your water is always going to be 1 gallon per person per day. And again, with that water, you're going to need water for cooking and drinking and sanitation and cleaning. So all those things with 1 gallon of water per person. And of course, if it's survival, you can use less, because we watch what's going on in other countries and how they're, going through the famine or not having food, and they're looking for water. They're searching for water. They're going days without water. We can survive a couple of days without water, but we have to have water. So that's why I always push having water and having ways to not only to purify your water in your home, or be able to catch rainwater so that you don't lose water. So you may only have 2 months worth of water in your house, but you have other ways to catch water and purify it. And then next, you will have food. Again, you will always strive to have things in your refrigerator, your freezer, and then you'll have the non-perishable items in your canned goods. Again, your canned goods will more than likely be the last thing that you use. Those are just strictly for survival. If you don't have anything else to eat, you have those canned goods. But in the meantime, we should constantly be pressure canning, because we've been told to pressure can. And you know how much you eat, and you know how much you can limit yourself. And so you have to say, okay, I can comfortably eat 1 meal a day, times that by 2 people in the house. And then you know that you may have 30 jars per person. So there's 60 jars that you need to have for 1 month. And that's with you eating that every single day. And then, of course, you want to have a little extra just in case you drop a jar or something gets destroyed or something is you're not able to eat it for whatever reason. And then you just do that with everything, your supplies, and you just get a little at a time to not overwhelm yourself. Because once you start to get things, it can be a spiral, because now you're like, oh, I got to get this, and I got to get that.
Yes.
Take your time, start with those 2 basics, and then make your way up to everything else that you need.
Yeah, well, you just walked on my front lawn now. You walked on my toes. Got to get this, got to get that. But every time, and I think it was the other night, maybe last week, and late at night, I'm scrolling. I just woke up and I'm scrolling. Tisha wakes up, leans over and says, "Are you scrolling survival again? Are you
3 in the morning?
Are you scrolling?" And I was like, what makes you think that? But she was right. Because I just don't want to miss anything. And so these conversations with the experts like yourself help us not to miss anything, but also not to obsess on the side of going overboard and getting this or getting that, buying this and purchasing that. And we want to make sure that this is not something that's a burden on our family here at Nothing But the Truth. We want to make sure that you can do what you need to do to survive a difficult time that we've all been taught is coming.
Absolutely.
You know what? One thing we did too was took an assessment of what we already have and then what we needed, and got pretty much organized so that you could see what you have. Because sometimes, you may have bought something a while ago and be like, or you might have something that could be used a dual purpose, right? To maybe catch water or to stock water. And so we did that. And so we were trying our best to make sure we're being good stewards over our monies and not being wasteful, right? And then we tried this option too, just buying a little bit of different things so that we can have some of something, in different categories. And then from there, going in and stocking up more. So we paid attention to canned goods. We paid attention to dry goods. We paid attention to toiletries, first aid. And then we will go back and restock the next layer, just in case something happened and we got stuck in the house or lost power, whatever. We at least had lighting, water, food. Do you recommend that, or what is the process? Like the person said, what is the process for stocking up 2 or 3 months?
Absolutely.
Everybody says little, but
Yes, like it is an assessment. So of course it's like communication needs, your lighting needs, your food, your water, your first aid, your hygiene. Those are the main things that you want to have. You just look at it like this. If you're stranded in your house for 30 days, what is the bare minimum of things that you need to survive? And that's pretty much how you look at it. And you be able to do that the next 30 days because we're resourceful and we're very resilient people.
Yes.
So really, it doesn't matter the situations we're in, we're going to make it. I've been in families, even my mom, lights were out before, not because there was a disaster, but the lights weren't paid or we couldn't afford to turn the lights on. So we've had to live like that. And what did we have? Candles. We didn't even miss anything because it was not the era of cell phones or anything. So we were playing outside until the street lights came on. We went in, we cooked, did everything during the daylight. And at nighttime, when we went in, it was time for bed. You got a flashlight, you can read a book. I mean, it just was simple and you weren't stressed. A lot of times we get overstressed because we're in this microwave time that we live in where we have to have everything. We can't even survive a lot of times without our phone. So we really need way less than our minds is telling us that we need. That's why you don't have anything. Bare minimum, again, your food, your communication. If you need to communicate with someone, you might have a mother that is, disabled. You want to have a way to communicate with that parent. You want to have some lighting. So if you have a flashlight or a lantern, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you have to think to yourself, am I going to be able to see? And whatever works for you. You might be able to utilize candles. Me, I have children. I don't want to use candles. So I have different solar lights or LED lights that work for my household. And every time I go out, I buy something. Something. If I'm standing in line and I'm at Walmart, which I don't like going to Walmart, but if I'm there, I'm going to see something that I can just say, if I have $2 extra, instead of using that to buy some junk food or a drink, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to use that to buy something that I need. And again, once you get to that place where you have to survive, whatever you have, that's all you have. So you're going to be able to utilize it, but you want to have some of the things now in your home so that when things happen, you're prepared. But one of the biggest things that you do need to have is first aid. First aid outside of food and water is probably the next biggest thing because you getting cut or hurt. If something falls on your head, you get a concussion or something like that, your arm is slit and you need a tourniquet. You need to know how to use a tourniquet. You also know that the police is not coming, fire is not coming. If they do come, it may be days, hours, or weeks before they get to you. So knowing these things, you might have to be the person to help save somebody's life in your house. So you just look at it like that. Whatever you can get, little things, make an assessment and have a conversation with those in your household on what it looks like to survive 30 days. If we cannot leave our home, are we prepared? If we do need to leave our home, do we have our go bags or do we have things in our vehicle where we can get on that highway? And if we're stranded on that highway, we're okay. And that's how you look at it. Don't overthink. Just think of the minimum of, can we survive 30 days? And if you can survive 30 days, more than likely, you can more than likely survive another 30 days.
Wow. Again, you're looking at the Nothing But the Truth weekly broadcast with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha. Our guest tonight, Sister Tequella Muhammad. So many questions. And Tisha, if I could ask just one that popped in my mind during the thorough response to the question you just gave, Sister Tequella. And if there's somebody in the chat who wants to add something, feel free. But you mentioned communication. You may have somebody you need to communicate with who's not in your home with you. In the event that the cellular service goes down, I hear now a lot of people advertising for apps that you can use to connect cell phones even when the towers are down. So my first question is, do you have any recommendations for what those may be? And if you do or don't, is there anything subordinate to that? Like, how do we communicate via radios, walkie-talkies? What do we need? And Tisha, no, I'm not trying to buy anything else right now, but I do want to
need to communicate.
I just want to make sure we have everything. Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. So I didn't study the different type of apps yet because most of the time when the towers are down, the phones are down. It's really hard to get signal with those. I would have to really do a little bit more research on that. But I know that they do have different type of walkie-talkies that do have very long distances. Some of them you have to have licenses for, and some of them don't. Some of them can be, on the next street. Some of them can be 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles or more. One of the other things is the ham radio. And again, I'm not the best at the ham radio. I've taken the class 2 times and I need to finish. But Brother Paul, who is really great in the Nation of Islam, does the communication portion and piece of how you stay connected. And he does the ham radio, which is kind of like a radio walkie-talkie, but it's like a phone. And you can still communicate if you know how to use it properly to access certain channels, to hear what's going on in the city, to tune in to other radio stations, like even the military or the police. Like you can tune into different stations and connect to other people. But again, everyone would have to know how to utilize that.
Yeah. You have to be licensed for that, don't you? You have to have a call handle. Yeah.
Yeah. I took the class twice. So I would recommend taking that class. The regular walkie-talkies are good, but again, other people have to have them as well in order for them to work. So it's good to have it in your household. So if like Brother Jamil had to leave out and he had to go find food, he could take a walkie-talkie with him and you can have one that goes a certain distance. Now, if it's like a mother-in-law or something, they live out of town, there are different ones that stretch that way, but you have to have license for those ones.
Yes.
Or you have a ham radio, and she would have to have one as well. So I would do research deeper onto that. That would be the best way. Initially, you would just have a plan of communication, meaning you would talk to your mother and say, like, if we get disconnected and we're not able to reach one another, who is the other person that will, let them know that we're safe? Is there someone else that we can email? Is there someone that we can reach out to let them know we're safe? Or an address, or where would we go? Whose house are we going to go to if something happens in our city? And everybody knows that you're going to be at this place.
This is the
so
meetup.
It's having a plan and having a communication where everybody knows what to do in that sense.
So it sounds like it is important to have this plan, but it's also important to work the plan, because you don't want to wait till we right in the midst of it and then be like, now what did we say? Get the paper where we wrote the plan down. Yeah, no, we need to practice. Okay. All right.
Now talk about it. Make it like a fireside chat, because you'll remember if you have a conversation, but many of us, we do not have conversations about it. We just kind of think, well, I know she know I'm gonna go to my mama's house, and you like, I know he'll think, I'm going here, and y'all are way off. You go somewhere else or he goes somewhere else. If you have a child at school and an earthquake happens and you can't get to your child, what is your child gonna do? Did you have a conversation with your child? Do they stay at the school or do they walk home? You gotta, you're looking for them at the school and they decided to leave because they're thinking that you want them to walk home. So you have to have these conversations and communication with one another.
Wow. We are quickly approaching the bottom of the hour. We'll do our little commercial break. That was really quick, 30 minutes, real quick. We'll do the commercial break. When we come back, if we can, I'd like to touch on some different water storage options. Let's talk a little bit about, we talked about having the gallons of water, but how do we rotate? What are our different options for storing water? Let's get into it with the water, because water takes up a lot of space, but water is needed. All right.
So our water, and we're also going to talk about heat and cooking and lighters.
Yes.
Right?
If we can. Yes.
It's not like we are DJ DMD and Lil Kiki and Fat Pat. 25 lighters on my dresser. Yes, sir.
I mean, it really is. That's really important, though, because I was in that storm real quick before we go to the storm that Dallas had maybe about 5 years ago. And everybody had lost power about 5 to 6 days or what have you. And the neighbor had a lot of wood, and he helped my sons go get more wood when we ran out of wood. And what we found out was you can't burn wet wood. The wood was wet, so it didn't help us. And he had some dried wood left, but he didn't have no matches. So you got to be ready, right? With the whole package. And it was you just think, oh, I got a lighter here, I got a lighter. But in the midst of everything, you might not even be able to find it. So you got jelly, but no bread. You got peanut butter, no jelly. You got to have your cereal and no milk. Your stuff got to match. He had wood, no.
You had the powder milk?
He ain't had none. He ain't had no matches. He
No
came
one.
up with
Ideas. Those are good bartering things. You know, give me a
yes.
little bit of wood. I give you some matches, and we work it out.
We did. He gave us a lot of wood, and my son tried to give him one little pack of matches. I was like, give this man some matches. He was like, he should have been ready. No,
exactly.
That was funny. We have a lot of matches now. Let's go to commercial break. We'll come back and get into water rotation.
Sounds
Y'all
good.
ready? Assalamu alaikum, family.
Assalamu alaikum.
What are we saying? What are we doing? Woo! Assalamu alaikum, family. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Assalamu alaikum.
We want to thank you for taking the time to tune into Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil
and Sister Tisha. We thank you for every Thursday night joining us for appointment viewing. 8 p.m. Not 8 a.m.
Yeah, I'm going to come in on the p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Thursday nights by YouTube, by Facebook, by Instagram, by all the other means by which we can be seen. But we thank you, because without you, as a matter of fact, here the Manhattans, there's no me without you.
He always do that. Assalamu alaikum.
There's no me.
You didn't say assalamu alaikum. You didn't say assalamu alaikum.
Oh, assalamu alaikum. That is such a beautiful part of the program. You know, the vocals, you know, the heartfelt tenderness, love. Okay.
Yes, I felt it.
Yeah, good. Don't waste it. Okay.
Okay. All right, Sis Tequella. So let's get into water rotation. How do we store water? Okay. What is there a best method for it? Should we get the smaller water bottle? Should we store it with the big gallon jugs? What is the best for long-term storage?
Absolutely. So again, it's how you drink water and how often you. So if you're drinking on a regular basis, like my house, they literally drink at least 2 gallons a day. I don't know how they do it every day. So you want to get the bottled water if you like bottled water. If you don't like bottled water, the gallons, or 5-gallon jugs, which is one of the things that I recommend for a long time. 5-gallon jugs, like the big blue jugs that come.
Oh, yes.
In front of the store.
Yes.
Those are really good to have because you can get them from water services where they'll actually come and bring them to your house. They'll take the old jugs and they'll give you new water if you're drinking on a regular basis. So you're basically already rotating your water out. For yourself, you want to, again, use what you already have. And then whatever you get new, you want to use that later on. That's how you rotate everything. Water. If you need it to sit, it can sit for a couple of years. Water can sit for a couple of years. Water is that it's not the water itself that kind of gets bad. It's the containers that it sits in that makes the water. Making sure that you are using either glass jugs or clear jugs that are BPA free. And again, if it's just regular sink water or purified water or filtered water, you can always just pour that water out and just refresh it. But if it's your regular water jugs that you're buying from the store, then again, every year I would go ahead and just try to rotate it. I wouldn't recommend just sitting water there for years and years and years. There's people that have 5 years. At some point, you need to rotate that water out. You can pour it out and reuse the jug if you need to, or you can take it back to the service provider that you got the water from and have them to refill your jugs for those.
Okay. Do you have one of the jugs that we have? Hun, are you able to just
last time you were here, you had told us to get some to purchase some water jugs, and I purchased these from Walmart. Can you see it?
Well,
are those good?
good. Those are BPA and then they keep your water good because it's in a darker container, keeps your water good and fresh. Those are really good too for catching like rainwater, or like let's say you had some type of power outage or something like that. You'll be able to fill up water real quick in your bathtub, and now you can utilize it if something happens, if there was a drought or anything. You have those containers to utilize in the case of an emergency. Yeah, and those are very. Or if you had to leave your home, you can grab those 2 jugs, fill them up with water, put them in your car, and water on the road with you.
And then they had we got this at Walmart. This one is 6 gallons, but they had some that was double this size. So it was a big square. Yeah. So they come even bigger than this, but this is big enough for me and Hom.
So they got some. Once you fill those up, you really can't move them.
You can't move it.
Can't move. Fill those up, they're going to probably be there for a good amount of time. But again, I will always touch or rotate it. If it has a smell to it, if it looks like it's been somewhere, you want to keep it in a cool, dry place. So of course, unless your garage is like insulated, I wouldn't really recommend the garage. More so in a closet, a pantry, just in a random place. If you got a couch where you can put it behind the couch and nobody can see it, put it back there. So many different places that you can put the water. I have water in my husband's closet. He doesn't mind. You know, I got about 10 gallons of 5-gallon jugs in his closet.
He doesn't mind.
He doesn't mind. I'm gonna put some on. I'm gonna put some on your side, Hom, by your crocodiles.
Your shoes, so he doesn't have that many. So he has a lot of space underneath.
Listen. You put that behind the sofa. Don't bring that in there.
That by Hughes. Okay, that's great. So I wanted to know. That's great. Good to know about the rainwater and things like that. And I could see how, especially like in the winter storms, where you might run the risk of your pipes bursting, fill that up, fill your tub up, that type thing. Okay. Then you at least have water for washing your hands, cleaning, things like that.
Absolutely. Okay. And I do recommend like a Berkey, and it's a filtration system that you can get. It's a little pricey, but if you do want to get it, it filters up to 6,000 gallons of water with just that filter. And you can get an extra filter. It's called a Berkey. It's a filter, a water filter system. Yeah, and you can use it on a regular basis. But like if you have the rainwater, you can put it through that and it'll cleanse the water to make it drinkable for you. Or if you're using even your tap water, you still use the Berkey and it'll, clean it out enough for it to be clear within your home.
I think you had touched on it one time too about those. There's some straws that we could buy.
Same thing. Yeah. Those light straws are really good.
Light straws.
Yes, those are the same thing, but those only do like maybe 1,000 gallons of water. That's good to have in an emergency. You're out and about, and then you happen to get water, but the water is not clean. Then you use the life straws to be able to cleanse the water to make it fit for you to drink. I know. Wow. But survival is everything, right? We only can go a couple of days without water. So that's why it's so important to have different methods to have water and purify, because we've been told a famine is coming. And, famine is not an overnight thing where it's just, you just wake up and then tomorrow there's absolutely no food on the shelf. It is a process, and it's already happening to the point where we go to get food, it has no nutritional value. It's genetically modified. So we're already in famine because we're not even able to get food that gives us the necessary nutrients and things that we need to survive.
Wow. That's facts.
Our guest tonight is Sister Tequella Muhammad. She is the author, the educator, the preparedness expert who's guiding us through tonight's discussion with the keys to things that will help us survive. And so we're so grateful that you're here. And so to all of you who are watching, and I see in the chat portions of the program, people are looking, and we'll try to get to all of your questions. Sister, if I may ask, we talked about water storage. Now, when you use water for the 4 main reasons that you said, drinking water, bathing water, right? Cooking water, and sanitation water. Is that right? Yes. I want to focus on the cooking and the purification of that. How do you actually cook? If your power's out, you have no range, you can't go outside with a hibachi and throw a couple of steaks on the grill because everybody smells it and they come to take your steak. What do we do, and how do we fuel the fires that we use to cook? And what's the safest way to cook in your homes during a period of extended stay inside?
Absolutely. So I would say the first start of safety is having some type of generator if you can. There's solar power generators, which I feel are more safe than having a gas generator. But with those
Yes.
generators, you're able to plug in like your electric pot, your pressure cooker. You can plug in your what is that, crock pot. You
Mhm.
have those where you can just plug in certain things, or your little stove that you can just plug in and make a meal. If you don't have that, the next is a sterno. Sternos are little small, um, little stainless steel or aluminum cans that they use to make fire, and you can cook all type of things. You more so warm it up, and it can bring food to a boil. But those are really good, and the minister actually said, get some sternos to put into your house. So it's really
Okay.
good to have affordable. And again, they don't give off carbon monoxide. So you do want to have those next in line. But again, you need multiple things of those, and they really do more of warming up your food and making a light boil than actually cooking it full. But that's good to have. The next would be propane. Propane is excellent, but the only thing about propane, you got to make sure it's safe to use indoors. And propane can give off a little carbon monoxide. So if you do utilize it, which a lot of people still use it indoors, especially like RVs and mobile homes and things like that, some of them have them built in. You just have to make sure it's in a well ventilated area, so a cracked window. Don't do it in a garage somewhere where you can have some type of air flowing. But that cooks just like a regular stove. They make them with 4 eyes. You can cook a whole full course meal. And then you can have the butane stove, which is the same thing. That's the same difference. Again, you just want to make sure you're using those in a well-ventilated area. You have the gas to use it. You can also use your stove if you have a gas stove. Some disasters, the power may go out, but your gas stove still works. You just have to light it. As long as you're not using gasoline or anything, you can cook like your stove never went off. You just have to light it. And that's basics. As long as you're able to heat up your food, like even with your jarred food, you can keep it in the jar and just put it in boiling water and be able to eat straight in the jar. As long as you boil it. Canned goods, of course, you're just warming those things up. Anything in your refrigerator you can do. Again, have some freeze-dried or dehydrated foods and just make it easy for yourself. But again, it's not hard. You just want to have some things in your home that can allow you to cook for at least 30 days.
Beautiful. Okay. This is very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. You got to kind of like think outside the box, but think practical at the same time.
That's it. That's
right.
What
you may not have all the niceties that we're used to, the creature comforts, but you just think, go old school and make it happen. Yeah.
That's it. The key.
So that means even though your kitchen is all updated and everything's electric, you better make sure you have a manual can opener. Right? Some big spoons that you can mix stuff, because you won't have your mixer. Yeah.
Correct.
We can get through this as long as we're prepared. And that's why we have these kind of talks, to take out the anxiety that may be wrapped around it. And sometimes we get anxious about stuff and we just won't do anything. And that's not what the goal is.
Yes.
We need to start where you are and then build to something better.
Absolutely. And don't get overwhelmed. Yeah. We get overwhelmed, and we don't want to get overwhelmed because we start to think about every single thing that we need today. We don't want to think like that. You start with the basics. Again, food, water, and then your food, and then your first aid, and then everything else after that. And if something happened, you'll know you're going to survive because you have the 3 most important things, and then everything else is just extra. You might get it from your neighbor. A lot may find somebody else that may come to you that have certain things. So you may not have to have all the extras. It may be somebody else that has tissue for you or trash bags or something like that.
Understood. Now we had, when we're talking about first aid, it's easy to go out and buy the basics, the bandages, the gauze, the tape, the this, the that. Don't you recommend having a first aid book? Because like you said, the internet may be down. We can't chat GPT on how to put a splint on. And even if you can't afford a first aid book right now, while the internet is up, you can print off some instructions and sort of make your own book, your own little binder or what have you. But the point is, you have to have something, because when the time comes, you don't want to panic because you don't know.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. It's very important to have books on everything. If you've never taken a CPR class, you need to have a book on that. You need to have a basic book on disaster preparedness and survival, just to kind of know what to do when you're in situations, especially first aid, because again, we haven't had to experience a lot of things. So even though, I've taken classes, I know I've taken CPR, first aid classes, I did the CERT, community emergency response training, I've done all these things, but I have had to do CPR on one of my children one time. And that wasn't like I expected it to be. I literally thought I was going to lose my son. And he had some candy that he choked on. The moment he popped it in his mouth, it went straight in his throat. And then he didn't look like he was choking. He just started turning blue. And then he's looking at me and I'm like, what's going on?
Yes.
I had to go into action, but my first mind was panic. So we don't know how we're going to act during certain things. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So I'm trying to he's small. So I'm trying to do it in a way where I'm not hurting him, all these things. But then I started panicking. So I'm like, literally, because he's not responding at this point. And so that is an experience. So if you're not watching videos and you're not really studying and knowing what to do and not having those things, you don't know how you're going to react in a situation. But by Allah's grace and mercy, I got the candy out his throat. The fire department came and all of that was good, but I wouldn't have thought that I would have done it, even though I was trained in CPR. It's different when it's somebody you love, and it's different when the person actually you're the person that can help them, help to save their life in that moment. So have that, and then have the tools that you need. Build your own first aid kit. You can get a little small one, but they're only gonna have little band-aids, bandages.
Right.
The antiseptic cream gonna be this much, ain't gonna be that much in there. You have one pair of gloves. You build it yourself. You can get all type of things. You can buy the Neosporin, buy bandages that you can wear. Get all these different things that you see. You can get it from Dollar Tree to start out. You can go to Walmart. And I always say this because I want to tailor to people who maybe not can afford to go to Amazon and spend $30, $40 on it. You want to tailor to those who are maybe less fortunate or don't have a lot of money to spend, to make it easier for them to get the things that they need.
I love it. Wow. And that's the whole point. Start somewhere, start small, get one of this, one of that, one of this at Dollar Tree or what have you, or at a little section of Walmart, but focus on one alcohol, one peroxide, one Neosporin, one box of things, Band-Aids, whatever. And before you know it, you've made your own survival kit, right? Your first aid kit. If you don't have the big gauze, we learned one time in a first aid thing, you can use sanitary pads for a big bandage. What is this purpose? Is to soak up blood. And it's a big bandage, and you wrap it around. It's all kinds of stuff. You just use what you got. Think outside the box.
Resources. That's why we're resourceful, so we'll use whatever we have in that time, but we want to have some things in our house so that we can use it.
Yes.
When you talk about getting these items, I heard you mention a couple of things to be very judicious and careful with your purchasing so that you don't go wild.
Yes.
What do you because I notice our audience is from all over the world. We have different ethnicities, but most of us who watch this program are Black folk. Mm-hmm. And Black folk in America are not known for their budgeting skill and their financial access to funds in a time of emergency. Like, are there some shifts that we can make away from our usual buying habits to just focus more on getting the things that we need? Because if you need to buy Neosporin, I understand it. You got to buy polysporin. You got to buy a methylate, a mercurochrome, or hydrogen peroxide, whatever. Where do you find this in the budget? Where do you pivot from to make funds available to do those things?
Absolutely. So again, I'm a mother of 7. So this is what I learned to have to do. Of course, first of all, you have to learn to conserve what you already have. Don't use so much. We're so in the habit of knowing that we can go and get more. So we're taking our toothbrush and squeezing half the bottle of toothpaste on there. We're using a lot of soap and things like that. So you have to start with having the mindset of conserving what you already have. Don't use more than you need, first and foremost. Then coupons. People, back in the day, I remember as a young girl, they had coupons that would come in the mail, or coupon books that would come in that you would just go through them and clip them and do all that. It's really good to have coupons. I just went to the store and bought 5 packs of tissue for $30 and 4 6-packs of paper towels, all for $21.
Now, before you do that, let me just ask you, Sister Tequella, to direct your attention to the screen. There's a suggestion coming in from Oakland. What do you think of this suggestion here?
Stand him.
Thank you, Brother William, for your.
Is that deodorant that goes under your arm?
No.
Or like Robitussin. You know, Black people think Robitussin cures everything.
Robitussin, ginger ale, and yes, it does. Lord have mercy. Okay.
Saltine crackers,
ginger ale, Robitussin, and in my case, Tums, which really does cure everything. But I have to say, the first thing you got to get, and I recommend this, and brothers, get notes on this. The first thing you need for your survival kit to be successful, get you an MGT wife. Now, you know, we don't preach on Nothing But the Truth. We don't try. But I got to tell you, get you a sister that is in your household, understanding those 7 units and how they can survive, that cause you and your children to survive in a time of difficulty. If you don't have a spouse with you who is trained on specific roles of survival, it may be more difficult for you. And I'm just encouraging you, brothers, with a smile on my face, but I'm dead dog serious.
Right.
Get you an MGT for a wife. If somebody want to come in the chat and bear witness, we only have another 4 minutes to be on the program. We came quickly. Teacher, go right ahead.
Real quick, because we didn't get to touch on it. Security and securing your home real quick, because we know we don't have guns and we don't have weapons, but give us some ideas of what we could use to secure our parameters, basic things, just to have something.
So even to start that, I want to say faith. You got to have faith no matter what. In any case, make sure that you keep Allah first and know that Allah got you, and He's going to assist you in getting through what you need to. No guns, no weapons. But you can't have a metal baseball bat in the closets, in different spaces, or anything metal that you can have. You can have some dog spray, some pepper spray. You can have some bear spray in the case of an emergency. Okay, if somebody want to come in, they got the big flashlights that are very heavy that you can have next to your bed. Make sure you have some of those. Certain things you want to make sure that you have in your home to secure yourself and your family. Those are regular items that can be turned into weapons. Knowing and having awareness, making sure your home is secure, locks, your doors, making sure if you do have cameras, you're able to watch the cameras and know what's going on. Anything that looks suspicious or look off, you have situational awareness to things that look out of place. People come into your door, don't automatically open up your door for nobody, and just be on alert when things happen. If we get lax, we're not watching, then we can be caught off guard, and that's what you don't want.
Wow.
Ooh, she is on point.
Our guest tonight, Sister Tequella Muhammad, she is giving to us key pointers for survival that don't always involve Robitussin, but apparently they could. But we want to make sure that you are, what is she? She has a good old
a tomahawk. I can't.
Hilarious. You make Mills Day, Sister Sharon.
Can you see her in the front yard with her tomahawk?
And Sister Sharon about this big. She about yay big.
Exactly.
she about this big. Tell me, I'll get you in the tomahawk, rascal. Okay, she's coming for you. Listen, Sister Tequella, please give us your last words of instruction. We have about 90 seconds for this, but we want to get this in before we turn it over to Tisha for our sign off. And then after we do sign off, Sister Tequella, stay right there. We want to make sure we connect you with all the folks that you need. If you need to contact her right now, go to arcsurvivalsurplus.org. That's arcsurvivalsurplus.org or tequellax@gmail.com. The addresses are on your screen right now. But sister, what would you say we should leave with tonight before you get back the next time?
Absolutely. Again, faith in Allah, Master Farad Muhammad, knowing that He's going to get us through. And it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So in everything that we do, just get what you need. Don't panic. Don't overwhelm yourself. Get what you can with what you can afford. And in the meantime, stay blessed and stay safe. And again, thank you all for having me on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. The bottom line, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. We have to quote sugar-free every once in a while. It's the right thing to do. But I want to turn you into the hands of the world's not only best, but most beautiful co-host. She'll give us some closing instructions, then we'll be right back right after this.
All right, family. I want to thank you once again for joining us for another exciting episode of Nothing But the Truth with Brother Jamil and Sister Tisha. We are so honored that you took the time to spend this hour with us. We want to invite you back, same place, same time next week for another exciting guest. You don't want to miss it. Please take the time to go back during the week and rewatch the broadcast so that you can learn and study and really internalize some of these tips that we were given today. And then also go help us build the platform. If you haven't already done so, please go to our YouTube page, like, share, and subscribe, and then do the same thing on Facebook, like, share, and subscribe. It will help us so much. We want to reach more, teach more. All right.
Yes, indeed. We thank you so much for being with us tonight. And remember, we'll be back next Thursday. Allah willing and the creek don't rise. We'll be back next Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central. And what time on the West Coast, Tisha? 5 on the West Coast. So we want to make sure everybody can join us, and we'll have more and more for your viewing and listening pleasure and knowledge. Thank you so much, everybody. May Allah bless you. Our guest tonight, Sister Tequella Muhammad. Give her a hand as we go out the door. Thank you, everyone, and may Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.